can you hear me now? Let me know. Because I just put the cable back in that was probably not connected well. So just let me know that you can hear me, or let me know that you cannot hear me. Yeah. Dun, 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 you can hear me. Okay. So I guess you want me to tell you what I was saying before. As an introduction before we chant Jai Radhamadava. Yes. So just minor detail when you plug things in, plug them in all the way, because if you don't plug them in all the way, you get a buzz. Yeah. Okay. So I was saying that Anastasia wrote me a letter and was asking, why is it that sometimes two devotees hear the same thing, and one devotee is able to follow it, and one devotee isn't, or one devotee is afraid or uncomfortable hearing it, what to speak of practicing it. And I was thinking about the question, and I think there could be different answers because we're on different levels of bhakti, and why I wouldn't be able to apply something that you could apply, or why it would be difficult for me to hear something because I'm conditioned or I'm at a certain level. But then I was thinking, well, what about a devotee who's more advanced, or a devotee who's more detached? Is it difficult for a devotee to hear something if he's more detached? And I was thinking, no, it's less difficult. The more detached we are, the less difficult it is to hear. So, we're hearing about death, and for some devotees, well, it's unpleasant or difficult. And so I was reflecting on it. Well, it must be that the more difficult it is to hear, the more we are attached to the body and to the things of the world that we would be leaving when we leave the body. And the more detached we are from the body and the things of the world that we're leaving, the easier it would be to hear, or maybe even the more blissful it would be to hear. Because when we started this discussion a few months ago, and some of you were saying, I don't know if I'm ready to die, it's a difficult subject, I'm afraid of death, and so forth. And then some of you were saying, well, now it's easier for me. And one devotee wrote me and said there was a death in the family or a loss. She said that this class really helped her to deal with that. So now that we're hearing the reality, some of us at least are becoming more comfortable with facing this reality, that are hearing about it. I don't say facing it, but facing it in terms of hearing. And that means there's some more detachment is going on, becoming a little more. And then we had discussed I believe it was last Friday, we had discussed on Wednesday and Friday, we had discussed the verse Dukkha Dosha Nudarshanam, the Krishna saying you should see birth, old age, disease, and death. And we were discussing how, well, that's not like I don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, what's on my to-do list? Oh, you have to observe birth, old age, disease, and death. It's not what someone would naturally do. We gravitate towards more pleasant things, don't we? Like what's for breakfast, not what's the nature of the world. But it's interesting because as you evolve in Krishna consciousness, you see things more in terms of these realities, and it doesn't bother you. It's just, it's reality. It's just life. Reality tours, and it's fine. You're fine with it. You don't run away from it. So that was my contemplation on that question, why some of us can hear and some of us can act on what we hear, and some of us can hear and some of us can't. And it may be that the level of detachment of those who can hear and act and face the truth and see the miseries and not try to just be an ostrich and not think about it, maybe the detachment is greater. Anyway, that's what Prabhupada is trying to bring us to in his teachings. And we've discussed this a lot, that sometimes Prabhupada would say things to us that would reflect how the truth is the truth. And when he would see us resistant to it, he would kind of, I don't want to say laugh, but he would kind of amuse us in the sense that, why are you like running away from this? This is just the way the world is. Don't you understand that? When he would see some fear or concern that the devotees had about safety, about death, then he was almost, maybe amused is not the right word, but amusing us is a better word, by saying, well, you thought you were never going to die? But Prabhupada, what if this happens? We might die. Oh, you thought you weren't going to die? Just kind of shooting back like, aren't you seeing reality? Are you running away from reality? You don't want to see it? So that was my conclusion. The more we evolve in Krishna consciousness, naturally, the more we become detached from the body, and then the easier it is to see, face, and not become discouraged or upset or fearful when we hear about the reality. Reality is, it's not so great. And in order to cope with a reality that's not so great, there's a mechanism which Maya uses, and we invite her to use, which is just create an illusion. And that feels much better, isn't it? Like, if you have a small child, you don't want to talk to them about death. You just, they say, Mommy, you're going to die. And you just kind of, don't worry, I'll be here for you. It's not appropriate to talk about those things to children. And sometimes we're like children. It's like, we don't want to talk about it. We just want to like sugarcoat it. And sometimes when you read Prabhupada's books, you can see there's no sugar. It's just medicine. It's like, oh, I don't like this medicine. It doesn't taste good. So sometimes it's like that. But we also see that when a devotee is advancing, the straight medicine without the sugar is like, yeah, this is good. What happens sometimes is when you're ill, medicine tastes worse than it does when you're becoming healed. So then we see devotees, they're reading some quote unquote getting some bitter medicine from Prabhupada, and they just love it. This is like, I feel so good when I take this medicine. So that's kind of what we're trying to come to. Prabhupada's peeling off the illusion, and then we're gradually, hopefully, coming to taste, I like this medicine. It's like, it's just, he's telling it like it is, and that's what I need. So that was my introduction. I mentioned a few other things. I had promised a discussion about the four Kumars going to Vaikuntha. It gives us kind of like an inside view of Vaikuntha. I promised we were going to do that last week. We didn't have time. And we'll see. I may be promising that we're going to do that like every day for a few days. We have a few other things to get through. But I'm going to chant Jai Radha Madhava now. And we have a couple verses I'm going to begin with that Kamini I forgot to send you, but it's okay. We're going to read about chanting and how that affects our position at the time of death, or what happens when we're chanting at the time of death. But first, we're going to chant while we're alive. And that's practice for chanting at the time of death. Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Shodananda Rajajanaranja Shodananda Rajajanaranja Shodanandana Rajajanaranja Shodanandana Rajajanaranja Jamunatira Chari Jamuna Tira Chari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Shobhanandana Rajajanaranja Shodanandana Rajajanaranja Shodanandana Rajajanaranja Shodanandana Rajajanaranja Jamunatira Panachari Jamunatira Panachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. One more time. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, it's the real love, it's the real thing. Everything else is imitation. Don't accept imitations, accept the real thing. You want love, you want to know what love is, it already exists in Radha and Krishna. And if you participate, you will participate in their leelas, you will get some love. We didn't finish last paragraph of Vinasrup. Okay, yeah, okay. So first, we're going to read something that I have here for you about chanting. It's just two things. It's very short. And I have a pipe organ. You could feel like we're in church. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You know, you think, oh, can I sing the Maha Mantra to a melody of a popular song? Hare Krishna. Yeah, you can. Many of the kirtans in India are actually songs from movies, which we would know unless you wouldn't know unless you watch Bollywood movies. Okay, I'm going to read something. There's some comments here, but I want to read something first, which I didn't send to you, Kamini, but It's okay. Life will go on. I could send it to you now, but by the time you get it and put it up, okay. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's possible we may have read these. This was just sent to me by Anastasia. But let's read them anyway. If we have read them, we read them a while back. And this would be a good reminder. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus a devotee is saved. So this is glorifying the power of the holy name. I'm taking allergy medicine. The pollen that I'm allergic to is such that I'm still getting a little affected. So, I always say it feels like there's an ant farm in my nose. That's why I'm always itching it. By the grace of the Lord, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this Maha Mantra, he immediately surpasses the great ocean of the material sky and enters the spiritual sky. This is interesting, because you would say, well, what happens at the time of death if someone's chanting Hare Krishna? Here, Prabhupada says you go to the spiritual world. He never has to come back for repetition of birth and death. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can surpass the ocean of death. And then you might say, well, is this true for everyone? Is this true for one who's not a devotee, or is this true for one who's not a pure devotee? I guess you'll find out when you chant at the time of death where you end up. Of course, you could look at this and say, well, this must not apply to everyone, or how can this apply to everyone? There may be some. This offer does not apply in all states. This offer does not apply to all devotees. So sometimes they have commercials, get a new iPhone for $3. This offer does not apply everywhere. And then you go to get the offer and you find out it doesn't apply anywhere. But it's not like that. It's not like that. Anyway, it's a reference. This is what Prabhupada says. So you can analyze it. Well, does it mean everyone? And whatever. Well, let's just take it at face value so that we can remember this. And when we're leaving our body, if we have the luxury to be forewarned, and then we can, as best we can be chanting, knowing that Prabhupada said if we're chanting at the time of death, we'll go back to Godhead. Or sometimes Prabhupada says remembering, if he was chanting at the time of death, remembering Krishna at the time of death. So that's great fortune. Be surrounded by kirtan. Yes. Hare Krishna. Anyway, sometimes someone their life may not be exactly the way they want it. Or not the way they want, the way we would have liked their life to be. You ever run into that problem? I don't like the way you live your life. I'd like your life to be this way. So someone may live their life in a way we don't think it should be, and they chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. And Prabhupada says, he surpasses the great ocean of the material sky and enters the spiritual world. He never has to come back for repetition of birth and death. And then, we've been discussing, well, when you're not pure, you go cool, and then you go to Goloka, and this and that. You come back and get purified in Boma, Vrindavan. And here Prabhupada says, you just, like Monopoly. Don't stop. Just, go straight to Chant Hare Krishna, go straight to Vaikuntha. Don't stop in Boma, Vrindavan. Yeah, maybe, I think we have to leave this statement open that this is, those commercials, use this cream and, even if you're 95, in 3 days, you'll look like you're 25. And then in the small print it says, results may vary. Yeah, that's the way they don't get sued. You said I would look like 25. I still look like I'm 95. No, you have to use our product for 12 years before you start looking younger. Yeah, I won't be alive in 12 years. So results may vary. Yeah, chant Hare Krishna, go back to Godhead. In small print, results may vary. Well, yeah, results may vary based on how you're chanting. So there's different ways you can take this because this appears to somewhat contradict other things Prabhupada said. And then you might say, okay, it says he surpasses the material world and enters the spiritual sky. But when? Is it the next life? Is it immediately? Is it 3 lives? Okay, let's stop analyzing. And what we want to get from this verse is at the time of death, do everything you can to be chanting. That's like, then, if you're just chanting at the time of death, whatever happens is by far the best thing that can happen to you. So that's at least what we can get from this, right? Because it's just showing the power of the Maha Mantra. If you chant at the time of death, it's like it's the best position you can be in. Okay, here's another quote. This is from the 6th canto of Bhagavatam. And of course, 6th canto means Ajamil. This quote we just read was being spoken to Dhruva Maharaj by sages. Let me just read the verse again. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus, a devotee is saved. You might say, many men means some men won't be. Well, we'll leave that up to the powers beyond our powers. We will make an effort to chant the holy name. If you can just chant the holy name when you're leaving the body, then you're, as we say in America, you're good to go. Chant, Prabhu, chant, Hare Krishna. Oh, he left his body. Where did he go? Best possible place he could ever go. Auspicious leaving. We should all be happy. So here's another quote, Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 2nd chapter, text 49, 6249. I think Nadia was putting the text up. If you want to put that up, 6249. I will begin reading it, and then maybe Nadia will put it up. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. That's kind of one of the definitions of death. In one place, of course, Vijay Lakshmi, you could also give your purport to this. In one place, Prabhupada said death is the failure of one organ. If one organ in the body, one vital organ fails, then yes, the body breaks down. And because you don't live forever, if you just die a natural death, it means the breaking down of the organs, right? So some organ, at some point it's going to break down. That's how you die. Is that, Vijay Lakshmi, is that a proper medical, verifiable, accepted understanding of, if you die naturally due to old age, it's a bodily functions start to slow down and eventually stop. Or one organ just, that's it. Party's over. I don't know if it was really a party. Maybe the nightmare's over. I don't know. It depends how you look at it. If you look at your life as a nightmare, then dying will be a party. If you look at your life as a party, then dying will be a nightmare. Hare Krishna, I think we should look at Goloka Vrindavan as a party. And This life, you may not want to look at it as a nightmare, but just look at it as a kind of a distraction on the way back to Godhead, kind of a detour. I took a detour for a few million lifetimes, but now I'm on the path. Okay. The time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At the time of death, even one throughout his life, at the time of death, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Okay, so that's okay. So now this is probably some of you are thinking this, but what if I can't chant? Okay, sounds good. Chant Hare Krishna, get your free pass to Vaikuntha, one-way ticket, all expenses paid, no returns, no refunds. You just go and you never come back. Okay, sounds good. So I should practice chanting Hare Krishna, Shuddhanam, and always chanting, especially when things are difficult and troubling and I'm in anxiety and depressed and my body hurts. I should always practice chanting so that I'm ready at the time of death. But what if I'm in a coma? What if I'm mentally deranged? What if for some reason I can't chant Hare Krishna? This purport answers that question. If that question was on your mind, if that question wasn't on your mind, it should have been. And now it's on your mind, and we're going to answer, and Prabhupada's going to answer it. At the time of death, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name. So it means just you're trying to make a sound and you may not be able to. While the body, he receives all, so you're just trying, or in your mind you're trying, you'll get all the benefit. It's absolute. That's good to know. Everyone who hears this class should now program themselves that whenever there's danger, whenever there's difficulty, immediately I should be chanting. Of course, probably you're already doing that, but now especially that this is very clear that when we're leaving our body, or it looks like we're leaving our body, or some extreme danger, Hare Krishna, don't go, ah. You know, that would be Bhakta Burfi's leaving his body, you know. The typical Hare Krishna accident, you know, the driver doesn't sleep enough. Of course, you pick the devotee who's most enthusiastic to drive, and the most enthusiastic devotee is one who doesn't sleep enough, right? So he's driving. You know, it's okay if you are not driving if you fall asleep, but when you're driving, you fall asleep. So in our little skit, the van is rolling down the hill, and all the devotees are, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and Bhakta Burfi's, ah! And then next life, Bhakta Burfi ends up in a place, and when he gets there, everybody's saying, ah! And it's called Aloka, you know. So Bhakta Burfi, you kind of blew it this lifetime. Instead of chanting Hare Krishna at the time of death, you chanted Ah, and you went to Aloka. So, you know, that's the idea. I think sometimes that happens to devotees, right? They write me letters and said, you know, this thing happened. I thought we're going to get in a car accident, and instead of chanting Hare Krishna, I was screaming, ah, I don't want to die. I don't want to. Instead of chanting Hare Krishna, I was screaming, I don't want to die. But that's like, whoa. That's unfortunate. No, I think that would be better. Bhakta Burfi chants, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. What loka would he go to? And then, you know, next scene, he's another baby. He's a baby, you know, because he wasn't chanting Hare Krishna. He was chanting, I don't want to die. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? One who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return back home, back to Godhead without a doubt. All glories to the holy name. the holy name will take you back to Godhead. That's the conclusion. If you forget everything else I say after this, and you've reprogrammed yourself and say, yes, I have to chant better rounds, I have to chant more purely, and I have to, at the time of death, I have to really program myself that when death is imminent, that's what I do. I take shelter of the holy name, my only shelter, our only shelter. Hare Krishna. Okay, there was a lot of comments going on while I was talking, so I'm now going to go all the way back and read all the comments up to the point. We'll start where your comments start, up to the point of the last comment where it says, "We can't hear you. All we hear is buzzing." To find out. So who's going to edit my video? Who's going to edit my video and cut out the beginning? Because I was told there's an editing function. Okay. Adi Dev Prabhu, if you're hearing me, could you send me an email? Because I sent you an email to your old address and it bounced back and I don't have your new address. And I had some questions for you. And thank you for sending me your poems. Should we read a poem before? Adi Dev Prabhu, my godbrother, he's an artist. And he writes poems for non-devotees. Maybe you can suggest one appropriate for our discussion. Or maybe I have to look. He's a poet and an artist. He does these little mini zines with his poetry. Okay, let's read a little one. There is no planet happiness, that place Pinocchio went, where we can frolic day and night till happiness bucks are spent. Happiness is a state of being, not a state on a map, not a solid state gizmo. Happiness frees the bird from the cage. Hare Krishna. Nice. Nice. Thank you. Okay, maybe every day we'll read one of Adi Dev's entertaining poems just to keep us. Okay, I'm going down. I'm going down. Try to find if there are questions or comments. Vijay Lakshmi says, I've heard devotees continue chanting kirtan after a person leaves his body because sometimes it is stated, we are told, a person actually doesn't leave their body. I mean, they leave their body, but they hover around the body. So to ensure the soul's got a better destination, just keep chanting. It's always auspicious, especially for non-devotees, and also chanting just for your own sanity. You know, this person has just left. Maybe you were very close to them, and you just want to pray to Krishna for your own sanity, and you want to pray to Krishna that everything auspicious happens for them. So you can never. There's no fault in chanting. Don't worry. Okay. The heart fails. That's when you die. Okay. So other things fail, but then that causes something will cause the heart to fail. Okay. Krishna Karshini says, to come back to the spiritual world, we have to be on the level of Prema. So it seems that we may not come back if we chanted in a moment because we did not develop Prema. Yeah, I think I already answered that question. Could you please explain it in more detail? Anything's possible by the power of the holy name. We have invested all our capital in the holy name. Just like sometimes devotee says, I found this investment. You invest money, you'll get 6,000 times. I became a millionaire. I invested 3 cents and now I'm a millionaire. And everybody's pulling out their money. Okay, take it. Something like that. We're totally invested in the holy name. So, when you come to this point where it seems to be contradictory, you just say, I'm invested in the holy name. All my energy is going in the holy name. I have faith in the holy name. So if I invest in the holy name, whatever return I get is perfect, is auspicious. That's the idea. That's what I would say. Not only that's what I would say, that's what I just said. That's a strange statement. You say something and then you say, that's what I would say. But Prabhu, you already said it, so why are you saying that's what I would say? Would is future tense. Anyway, that's what I just said. So invest in, ladies and gentlemen, please invest all your capital in the holy name because it will provide you the best return. Just invest. Don't worry about what will come out of that investment. Everything good will come out. And Krishna Karshani, in a sense, we don't have to worry about what happens after we die. We have to worry about what happens while we're alive, and then do the right thing, and then let Krishna, the answer to your question is you will find out. Guru Maharaj, if I just chant Hare Krishna, will I go straight to the spiritual world? I won't have to take another birth. I won't have to be born in Gokul. Of course, that would be nice to be there, right? I go straight to the spiritual world, reinstated in my eternal rasa, or instated, maybe not reinstated, or however you want to say it. Which one is it? You will find out, no doubt. But how much will I make on this investment? 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 100 times? Just invest. You will find out. You cannot lose. It's impossible. How much you'll get back? Hard to say exactly. Markets are changing, But you will get back. So that's how we think. We think, okay, here's the holy name. It's the process. It's Prabhupada saying this is what we're meant to do at the time of death. So okay, I'm invested in it. All my spiritual investments are going in the holy name. Sometimes the life gets switched off. It's just the whole body when you naturally die, all the organs just kind of start turning off. Satyarupa says, I heard in a class by Janani Vas Prabhu, he mentioned, Prabhupada said, only pujaris go to Goloka directly, others go to Bama Vrindavan. Well, that's the case. Sign me up for the pujari department. Because pujaris know how to serve Krishna. I don't listen to the whole class. Oh, that is so funny. Okay, everyone. If you're doing book distribution and Sankirtan, you should definitely stop because only pujaris can go straight. I don't doubt that. Of course, Prabhupada could be saying that to encourage. But, of course, our ultimate objective is not where we're going after we die. Our ultimate objective is to do what pleases Prabhupada. So as long as you're pleasing Prabhupada, you're good. And, if you're so unfortunate that you don't go back directly and you just have to go to Boma Vrindavan, well, it's not so bad. It might even be better because things happen in Boma Vrindavan that don't happen in Goloka Vrindavan, like all Krishna's childhood pastimes, which are considered the most attractive. They happen there. So, not such a bad deal. You might even say, Krishna, Can I stop in Boma first before I go back? You might want that, right? So you serve Krishna, you chant the holy name, you're good. It's like whatever happens, you're good. You just do it and you'll be good. That's the point. If Bhakta Burfi is American, he may call out Jesus Christ. Yeah. But bona fide Bhakta Burfi, he's going to call out, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. He's dead. It reminds me of that story because it's such an unfortunate incident, but it's so interesting and instructive. A devotee is with his mother, and his mother not that favorable to Krishna. And he's with her, and she's leaving her body. And he's saying, chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, you're leaving your body, chant Hare Krishna. She was like, she wasn't there. And you know the last thing she said? Okay, let's count this. I can count this, we'll count the syllables with the Hare. I cannot say so many words. That's 7 syllables. Hare Krishna. That's 4 syllables. That's unfortunate. I cannot say so many words. And she left her body. That's the story, the way I heard it. She said, chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare, say Hare Krishna, mother, say Hare Krishna. I cannot say so many words. And then she left. Wow. Hare Krishna. So, don't stop chanting is all I can. I think that's clear from what we're reading, you know. Chant purely now, you'll chant purely at the time of death. Everything will be good. And wherever you go is wherever you go. But at least if you're chanting at the time of death, your investment is going to produce results. Anna says, I don't chant only for me. I chant Hare Krishna also when I see other people in danger or when I see an ambulance. Yeah, that's nice. Chanting will also develop your compassion for other people. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, your pure chanting develops when your compassion develops. That's interesting, right? When you actually... If Bhakta Burfi is Italian, he might be called Madonna. Okay. Bhakti Madonna. Barbara Wolf says, is this true? What is this? What is she referring? Bhakta Burfi incarnating as Madonna? Okay, so I have to try to edit it. Let's see. Teeth. He wants me to read the poem called Teeth. Okay, hold on. Maybe your email address is on your card. That's probably where it is. Yeah. No, maybe. Okay, we've been asked. I have a teether. No state, no time. Oh, I have to open it up. Hold on. We're going to read the poem called Teeth. If I can find it. Or is it teether? Teeth! Okay, it's time for a poem. Never a dull moment in our classes. Zzz. My jawbone vibrates, but I can't feel a darn thing. Then the little blue glowy light. You're overdue for a cleaning. Let's set up a date. The drudge of keeping those rows of bones within my jaws. They look like escapees from a concentration camp, all stained and ravaged. They wear their medal and gold badges of courage gallantly, but this is a losing battle. Still, I must brush on, because the alternative is applesauce and oatmeal. Hare Krishna. Only a person over 70 could write something like that, right? Anyway, as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not old, you will be. Don't worry. It'll happen to you. Oh, you can edit the video, but the problem is we have to edit it before we publish it. So maybe we can have a Skype call before. Anyway, I'm going to try to do it, Anna. Thank you, and then we'll see. Or the other option is we just take it down and then re-edit it. Okay, there's instructions. Marco's going to Mamma Mia. Marco, don't go to Mamma Mia, Loca. Forrest Gump would say, and that's all I have to say about that. Maybe that's better. That's what I would say. Some people die in their sleep also. Yeah. I don't know. Is it good to die in your sleep or not? What if you're not dreaming about Krishna? What if you're dreaming about chocolate cake with strawberries and whipped cream and you die? I always thought when I was a kid, you just go to sleep and you don't wake up. That would be a great way to die. And I'm sure so many people think, I just want to go to sleep and not wake up because then I won't know that I died, which is what I often say. Everybody's afraid of dying. I go, what are you afraid of? When you're dead, you don't know it. So it's not like you're alive and you're saying, oh, I died. You're gone. You forget this body and this life. You don't even know what happened. It's not so hard. But I don't think dying in our sleep is like ideal for devotee, unless you dream about Krishna. Laugh your way back to Godhead t-shirt. Mahatma's TV show, yeah. The Mahatma channel. But sounds like Kamini says, sounds like Janani was trying to get more brahmacharis. Maybe more pracharis. And it says, Kadamba Kanada Swami, my Guru Maharaj says, we're all pracharis. Okay, solve that problem. We're all going back to Kanada. Krishkarshani says, I have a doubt. The person who is giving Prema is Krishna. He owns Prema, and I believe he gives Prema only to those he fully trusts. Give love to someone, he will be controlled by love. If this person giving love to someone, he will be controlled by love if this person, what? By this person. So I believe he is very careful whom he's giving love. It's true. I have doubt that chanting in a moment of death is enough to get Prema if you don't have Prema. For me, it seems to be easy and too cheap. Well, the thing you have to understand is that, young lady, the thing you have to understand is that this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. The rules have changed. They're not exactly the same. So it's true, as I often said, they have security in the spiritual world. They may not let you in. But Lord Chaitanya changed the rules of the game. So now, I would say as a general answer to your question is, anything is possible by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And the power of the holy name. You can also say, if you're chanting the holy name at the time of death, Krishna may say, I want you to come and qualify you. Okay, so you go to the gates and they say, beep, 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 beep. You have something in your pocket, can you take it out? whoa, that was envy. It's not so easy to take out. It's like in my deep pockets. Okay, we'll help you. And so in that moment, Krishna just like pulls out all your metals so you can get through the metal detector. Which now would be a good time to read that story since we're talking about metal detectors. So anything's possible, but I think it goes back to the other thing we're saying that, there may be some doubts, but Prabhupada is saying, just chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. That's where to invest. And like we say, you'll find out, but it's possible. At least minimally we can say, based on what we've been reading today, it's possible. I think we have to conclude that. Vijay Lakshmi made an interesting point, which I maybe missed. I did miss it. People like me have to come to Krishna consciousness very late. In the purport, it says chanting throughout their life. All right, chanting for the rest of your life. Just, maybe you'll live a long time and you'll have more time to chant. Or, what I would say, Vijay Lakshmi, just make up for lost time. Like sometimes when you do something later in life that you should have done earlier, you have to make up for lost time. You just work harder at it. You work better at it. You work longer hours at it. I'm 70 years old and I can learn Spanish. I don't have 10 years to learn it. I have to learn it in 3 months. Okay. Something like that. So there's hope for you. Don't worry. You can edit live video after publishing. That's the instructions I hosted above. Okay. So then, Anna, you can do it. Then I have to give you the password. Question from Lester from Peru. I don't know how to pronounce this. Honorado. You have to tell me how to pronounce it. No, I can't pronounce. Does he have a shorter name? We can just call him something shorter. S or something. How can one know that at least he will be awake by then so that he can remember Krishna? You don't know. And so other things we read, Prabhupada said, you don't know. So while you do know, which means while you are conscious and awake and aware and alive, like right now, while you do know, then be Krishna conscious. And that's the best you can do. I mean, there's many, many things we read maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago about you don't know your state at the time of death, but you can control your state now, and that will affect your state at the time of death. So that's the best you can do. And when you study these purports from a certain angle, you can see Prabhupada is saying, you're going to be tested, so every day is preparation. And you don't know what's going to happen at the time of death. You don't know how you're going to die. You don't know if you're going to be chanting. You don't know if you're going to be able to be chanting. But what you do know is you can chant now. And so at least focus on that. And that will best prepare you for leaving your body. And then we read these amazing verses where Prabhupada said, and even if you can't chant, Krishna will remember you. Even if you can't think of him, he'll remember you because you've dedicated yourself. Okay, so that's what is Forrest Gump saying? That's all there is to say about that? Is that it? I have to go back to Marcos so I can adopt that new mantra. What is it? And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, that's my new mantra. Actually, it's not a good mantra for Krishna consciousness because you can speak unlimitedly about that. That's all I have to say about that for now. Okay, so now we're actually ready. We are actually ready to read where we left off. And that is 2 paragraphs, or we could go Jai and Vijay. Okay, let me just say something about Jai and Vijay. We won't go through the whole story, because if I go through this whole story, I could spend maybe 2 classes on this story. Maybe not, but I could. So the 4 Kumars wanted to see Lord Vishnu, and so they were able to travel to the spiritual world. But they were impersonalists at this time. They weren't bhaktas. And there are various gates, 7 actually. And you require certain qualities. And being detached and renounced, they had enough spiritual purity to get through 6 gates. When they got to the 7th gate, Jai and Vijay said, "Hey, you're not dressed. You can't go in without clothes. Okay, you got it? You're not going in. You don't have any clothes on. You want to go to Vaikuntha, you got to have clothes." Okay, that's one of the things they said. I don't think that's in the Bhagavatam, but it's in the commentary. One of the things they said is, you can't come in, you're not dressed. But the real reason, that was kind of like it, like sometimes you don't want to tell someone the real reason, so you give them another reason. Like, the real reason is you're not a devotee. And so that 7th gate that you have to pass through, that's the gate of pure bhakti. And they weren't bhaktas, so they couldn't pass it. So, maybe they just were saying, you can't come here, you're not following the dress code. But instead of, offending them by saying, you don't have pure bhakti, so you can't come in. So that's the 7th gate, is pure bhakti. And the other gates are stages that lead up to that. Someplace it's described, Adoshraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. Those various stages are the gates. So you can get through a lot of gates depending on what stage you're at. As I had promised you weeks ago, I'm going to find out. That's all I found out so far. Slather. I didn't know Slather was an English name. I can call him Slather. Slather. I never heard that name. I might have to make up a name for him. Slather. Okay. Okay, Slather. Did I pronounce it right, Anuradha? Slather? So that I just want to mention that. If I talk anymore, I'll tell the whole story. So interesting. So many details behind it. But I will control myself, and we will wait to the next time. Okay. So at least, you need pure bhakti to enter, right? Slather is not an English name. Okay. He's got to come up with a better name than Slather. Slather sounds like a character from a fiction book who comes from the underworld. Slather, who slays demons. The slayer. So what's the Sanskrit for slayer? Oh, slayer of the demons. Oh, slayer of the enemies. What is the Sanskrit for slayer of the enemies? What does Krishna call Arjuna? Oh, how come I can't remember that? What is the word? Who knows? We have to give slayer a Sanskrit name. Slayer of the enemies. Oh, slayer of the enemies. Oh, Arjuna, slayer of the enemies. Hold on. Oh, it's not there. Does somebody know? Isn't that? I'm not finding it. It's not coming up in the Gita. I need help. It's a Madhusudan? No. That's Krishna's name. That's Krishna, killer of the Madhu demon. Why we're not coming up with this? This is crazy. It's Bhimasena is also called slay. Oh, hold on. Someone's going to have to help me. I don't want to stop everything. You can share. Can somebody find it? Slayer. Maybe that's not. Maybe it's killer of the enemies. Maybe that's it. Something. It's right there in the Gita, no? Why am I not remembering? Arisudana. That's Krishna. Krishna. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Arisudana, killer of the enemies. You know why? This is a side point of great interest. You know why? This is a commentary and also a verse. Arjuna said, this is interesting. Okay, time for a little scenic tour off the topic, but this is interesting. It's, the names that Krishna calls Arjuna and Arjuna calls Krishna, they're in the context of the conversation. So when he calls Krishna Arisudana, you know what he means? He said, you kill enemies and you're asking me to kill my relatives. So it's kind of like, what's going on here? Hey, Arisudana, what's going on here? You're asking me to be relative Sudana, family Sudana, kill my family, my teachers. You don't do that. You kill enemies and you're asking me to kill family. So, Arisudana, what's going on? It's kind of almost like, isn't that interesting? Because Krishna has so many names that Arjuna would choose certain names within the context. It's like this isn't right. You kill enemies and you're asking me to kill family. Just so interesting, right? You don't do that. Why asking me to do that? And Krishna says, do what I say, not what I do. No, he doesn't say that, but they've actually become Arjuna's enemies, even though they're family. Anyway, did anybody come up with a word? Shatruhan, O killer of enemies. Parikshit Maharaj? Shatruhan. Han means kill. Shatru means enemy. Okay, Shatruhan. Lester or Slather is now Shastrahan. Kill the enemies. He went from Lester to Slayer to... Anyway, that's good for today. Today, as Lester, you are Shatruhan, killer of the enemies. Go out and kill the enemy in your mind. Parantapa is also conqueror of the enemies. But who's being called Parantapa? Oh, conqueror, Parantapa. Okay. And then Arjuna, Krishna is calling. Is Krishna calling Arjuna Parantapa? I think he is. So that was a good one. Tomorrow you can be Parantapa. Today you're Shatruhan. And kill your Shatruhan, slayer of enemies. Yeah, because slayer. Okay. So now, without further ado, we're going to read where we left off last week. And how many is it? The last two paragraphs? Is it? Is that correct? I didn't know it were. Last two paragraphs. So I'm going to read the last three because it won't make sense if we don't read the paragraph above the second to last paragraph. Okay, so I'll begin reading from here. And then Kamini is posting it. Let's say we spend our time serving Lord Krishna in a temple. We live with devotees and together with them we chant kirtan, we hear Bhagavatam. We cook, we make garlands and so on. This is our life. And what happens at the time of death? We go to Krishna's abode and continue with our service. There's no interruption, no failure to perpetuate relationships. Srila Prabhupada said there will be another ISKCON in the spiritual world. Oh no, I don't want to go. That's the joke. We are eternal. I heard there's going to be I really wanted to go back to Godhead, and then I heard Prabhupada say there's going to be another ISKCON in the spiritual world, and I'm not going. I lost my desire to go. That's the joke. Prabhupada didn't mean it that way. It means we'll all be there. We're all going there. Oh no, if you're going there, I'm not going. I don't like you. What are you going to do? All the people you don't like. All the devotees you don't like are going to be in the spirit. Well, I hope I don't see them. I hope I don't live in their neighborhood. No, you'll like them when you get there. It'll be different. Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada said there will be another ISKCON in the spiritual sky. We are all eternal associates. Okay, so we begin reading now from where we left off yesterday, Friday. In this way, our dying business is over already. By giving up false ego and false attachments, we have, in effect, accomplished what death is about. Because, you see, this is interesting. This is such an interesting thought. You have death of the body and death of the ego. And the death of the body also becomes the death of the ego, at least in some symbolic way, because everything you stand for and everything you believe about yourself is taken away. But if you actually kill the false ego, then basically you're already dead materially. So then dying is not a problem, because you don't have to pull your false ego out of your body. You don't have to defend your false ego. You don't have to hold on to your false ego. You've already given it up. So you're not even in the consciousness that you're the body. So dying it's not really happening. You've already died. But when you hold on to false ego, bodily concept, then dying is like you're holding on, you're struggling, defending, and it's not easy. By giving up false ego and false attachments, we have, in effect, accomplished what death is about, and our devotional service keeps on increasing forever. So, if we just do what we are supposed to do, or we really do what we are already doing, we'll discover that we have already entered our eternal life. So that's the beauty of bhakti. Well, what did you do today, Prabhu? Well, I got up, I woke up my deities, I changed their clothes, then I cooked for them, then I cleaned the deity room, then I chanted my rounds, and by the way, when I go back to Godhead, what do I do? Oh, well, you'll get up and then you'll see Krishna and then you'll feed him and then you'll chant his glories and then, so it's like, oh, okay. I think I can do it. Yeah, you can do it. You already are doing it. Nothing has changed. One caveat. Dun, 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 dun. One caveat. We need some sound effects. Hold on. If I can get the right sound effects. I have to find horns. How about one caveat? Here it comes. Srila Prabhupada cautioned us that as long as we are in the material world, we should never feel ourselves safe, especially if circumstantially we have to associate with materialistic people. We can easily get influenced or infected and forget. The enjoying spirit animates social activity. Let's go do this. Let's do that. People never cease building up stupid projects in the material world. We are all social beings. Yeah, I think about this a lot. I don't know if you think about this a lot. There's so many amazing things that are being developed. And because of Facebook, it gives a platform for developers to very inexpensively market. And I think the way Facebook works now, we see more commercials than we do on TV, or at least equal amounts. It didn't used to be that way. So when you're watching something, or before you go onto YouTube, there's one or two commercials, right? So sometimes the commercial comes up about some product that's really like, they take a truck and they drive over a pair of sunglasses and they pull the sunglasses. Hopefully they didn't do some editing. It's the same sunglasses. And I go, wow, these are pretty strong. Or they have something that is like, wow, this is really good. I'd like to have this. Or this is really incredible that they've created a product like this. And you look at the product and it's like, wow, this is really good. This will make my life easier. This is really ingenious and so on. And when I see those products, it's all about making life easier. Becoming free from birth, old age, disease, and death would make life a lot easier than this little gadget. But anyway, you understand what I mean. And every time I see that, I think, how much time and energy did they put into this? I was just looking at some things looking at some products relating to audio and recording. And when you do that, they just start advertising all these other products. So this commercial came up with this company who went and recorded an orchestra with like 60 mics, with like amazing microphones and amazing equipment. And so they get the orchestra to play things, and those are called samples, and those samples go in your keyboard. So you hit your keyboard and you get an orchestra sound. And then I saw a sample of it. He did a little composition with it. And back maybe, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, you could hear that it wasn't a real orchestra. It was samples of an orchestra. Now you can't tell. It's these incredible recordings, and they have devices. So you play it and the sounds swell up, ooh, just like real. Anyway, you don't have to know the details, but they put so much time and energy into this. It's like amazing. And now you have these like amazing products. And when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, wow, how long did it take you to make that? Then another commercial came up. And what this company did was they sampled keyboards, and they found all these old keyboards that are like what you call classic keyboards, and they rebuilt them all. And they sampled them, and they rebuilt a piano, and they sampled that. So they have these keyboards like nobody could afford to have all these keyboards. And now you have a little synthesizer, it's in there. And I'm looking at it thinking, how much money and time did you spend on this? I mean, the product is amazing, but do you have that much time to forget Krishna? And the answer is, yeah, I have plenty of time to forget Krishna. I've got all the time in the world to forget Krishna. So like all that time, all that energy. So he was just saying, let's do this, let's do that. People never cease building up stupid projects in the material world. It's like there's always something more amazing than anyone has ever done for somebody to do and devote so much time, so much money in developing it. Of course, the products are like amazing, but in another sense, it's just stupid. You don't need it. You need to go back to Godhead. And these very things that are so amazing, they're keeping us in the material world. So I was thinking, I'm revealing how my mind works. I was remembering that Prabhupada said, now I have to find a flute. Let's see if we can find a flute. Not very good. This keyboard it's somewhere between consumer and professional, which means some things sound good and some don't, and this flute does not sound good, but we're going to have to play the flute just because I'm talking about it. So why am I playing the flute? Because Prabhupada said that a hunter plays a flute. Well, let's put some effects on it. It'll sound better. A hunter plays a flute. I had effects on it. And then the deer, he hears the sounds. And the deer just stops. And he's just like, he's mesmerized. And then and he's shot. And he said that we are attracted by our different senses, and the sense of sound captures the deer, and it just kind of bewilders him, and he stops. Then the hunter shoots him. And that was Prabhupada's example, or Shastric example, of how that particular sense causes a living entity to be killed, some by their tongue, some by their sight, like moths that go into fire. So I'm getting these ads, and they're interesting to me because I'm here in Alachua. It gives me more time to do things I don't do when I travel. And one is I could do a little music production now. So I'm thinking about what to do and how to do it. And we have some songs, as you know, that I promised everyone I would do. So I'm thinking about it. So I get all these, I investigate it, and I get all these ads. And I'm listening to these samples and what the modern technology is doing. And it's just like amazing. Like what if I wanted, what I could do in my studio, what could be produced. It's just like with these samples. Marco, you need to get Spitfire. Go Google Spitfire. You need to get the Spitfire samples, or Sanatan if you don't have them. We could upgrade our production to like a cosmic level, Spitfire. So, and then I'm listening to everything they've done and these samples and sounds, and they're showing people playing, and the people are playing, with their new samples. Unfortunately, I can't play like they play, but I want to do a little example. They're playing it like. They're playing these new samples of like some very rare keyboard that nobody could even find, but to speak of a Ford. And then they're playing their keyboards and they're going like this. And there's all this emotion going on, and they're getting so excited. And I'm thinking, that sound, that one sound that they're playing, it's giving them so much pleasure. And that sound is keeping them in the material world. So you have these projects which seem amazing that you could never do before, right? And people are appreciating it. And what's the result of those projects? What does Rabindra Swarup call them? Stupid. You say, why are they stupid? Because the result of that project is you wasted all your time that you could have done serving Krishna. Of course, they're not devotees, but potentially you could have served Krishna. And the other guy now, who's got all these samples, he's getting so much pleasure. He's wasting his time. He's spending more time playing the keyboard than ever because he's got all these samples. He can create orchestral compositions in his bedroom that sound like movie tracks that could be sold to Hollywood now. And everybody's just like more entangled than ever in the material world. Isn't that interesting? Spitfire. The name is Spitfire. Yeah, check out Spitfire. All right, there's some, but we can use it for Krishna. So Marco's going to get Spitfire and upgrade. We're working on the song. We can upgrade it to a whole different level. I mean, you can listen to the samples. There's a video I was watching of a guy using it. I can send you the link because I have noted the link somewhere. I have the link right here. I will send it to you. So, of course, but Prabhu, can't we use it for Krishna? Yeah, we can use it for Krishna. But you know what I'm saying? You see these trying to get back to where we were. I'm just, bouncing off his stupid project. They have so many stupid projects. No, Prabhu, they're not stupid. It's amazing. I just got this gadget and this and yeah. Fine. And that person, spent 10 years of research, millions of dollars. And like life could have gone on without it. It's gone on for like since eternity without it. We're okay without it. But that's the idea. We're putting so much energy into these amazing projects. And then you get the amazing product, and that amazing product just makes you think, wow, material life is just fantastic. Look at this product, Now, instead of getting up to turn something on, I can just lay on my couch and turn it on from my phone. That's amazing. I'm so happy. Something like that. Okay. The enjoying spirit animates social activity. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. People never cease building up stupid projects in the material world. We are all social beings. Whatever our associates are enthusiastic about, we too may find ourselves enthusiastic about, especially if some seed of the enjoying spirit remains in our heart. We have to be careful to avoid reinfection by the enjoying spirit, which reinforces the false ego. It is a deadly germ. It is a plague that's going around in the material world, the plague of death. So you have this plague, Spitfire, SPIT, Spitfire. I'll send you a sample. Yeah, so there's this plague going on. Nobody sees it. The plague of false ego. Okay, so I have to go back. It's time to end, but there's some comments here somewhere. So Anna will figure this out afterwards, the editing. I'm going to put it up after, and then you let me know if you can edit it. We're all going to be sweet rice, sweet and nice at the other side of the rainbow. Spiritual world. Okay, sounds good. You can pay a certain fee to avoid add-ons on YouTube. Yeah. To save you from all the advertising. Spitfire is the name. Yes. When I see these products, I think, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. I don't have time to do this, but maybe I could do it in my next life. I'll have more time. I could, become a composer in my next life. Like endless desires. I like to be a composer. Now I have the facility. I don't even need an orchestra. It's like, where does it end? So that's the problem. Where does it end? It doesn't. Okay, but class has ended. It ends now. And so we never know where class goes, but at least we finished reading Srabina Prabhu's article. We read some nice things about the holy name from Srila Prabhupada. And then we got to hear a little bit about the seventh gate. And you're going to hear more about it tomorrow, the gate of Prema. The seventh gate. Wow, why don't we title this class The Seventh Gate, the Gate of Prema? Sounds mystical. Okay. So, thank you. Look for my email. I sent the instructions for trimming your video. So, am I going to have to do it, or can Anna do it? I don't want to do it. I don't have time to sit around and edit my videos. Can she do it? She just needs my password. Is that it? And she can go in and edit it. What about can someone just go in and say, there's no sound? Just write a comment and say there's no sound until 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Is that possible? Now, if you put a comment in, you can't get the comment to go in the beginning, right? Or can that be in the tag? What if Satyarupa just puts in the tag that there's no sound in, in the description, the name of the course, Seventh Gates, or whatever we call it. And then just say, it starts at 2 minutes, or wherever it starts. That could be awesome. Anyway, let's see what happens. It sounds simple, right? To edit it. An easy edit to trim. Okay. Toshan. Yeah, Toshan can do it. Yeah. So we don't have to give passwords to everybody. We can put in description. Yeah. Sadhyarupa, the conclusion is we're going to have Toshan do it. So you don't have to put it in the description. That's better. He can do it. Okay. I will tell him to do it. We solved a problem. A major problem has been solved. Thank you. But here's the other thing. Now that we're talking about edits, you can edit a Facebook video and just take out little portions and replay those. And that's what I want to do. I want to take out little portions. At the end of the week, highlights from this week's classes. But I need somebody to pick the highlights and somebody to trim them. And then we make this like 20-minute video, which represents like 7 hours of classes. That would be really nice, like the highlights, Or everything about Bhakta Burfi. We just back to back. So this is another Bhakta Burfi. Then the next scene, another Bhakta Burfi. Well, that'd be good. And then we have one for T-shirts, That would be, so all you see is, that would be a good T-shirt. And then I say what it is. And then it goes to the next thing. And I've got one for another T-shirt. Wouldn't that be interesting? We just need someone to find the clips and someone to edit them. So if that's something you could do, then do it. And before we go, you have to delete your I can't hear comments. While I sing you a lullaby. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, everyone. This is giving you time to delete your comments. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same station. Keep chanting. Remember Krishna. Never forget him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.